Hey everyone, this is Phil from Epic Fail Gaming. Recently we played Dead of Winter: The Long Night. That's the expansion to Dead of Winter. So we just want to go through the rules real brief, show you how it's played. So in Dead of Winter, each player is going to play survivors of the zombie apocalypse. It's a very cold environment. They all live in a colony together, and their goals are going to depend on the objectives that you draw. So first up, you're going to draw an objective card. This is basically the setup for the story. In this case, you can see this one is called The Night is Dark, and it will tell you what the goal of the game is. So your victory is survive 8 rounds, and the time is a long game. So each player is going to play 2 characters at the start. You can find more as you go. Each character has different stats. This number is his influence, and it affects whether he gets attacked first or not, depending on the other character's influence. This number is their fighting number, so on a d6 you have to get a 2+ to actually kill a zombie. This number is their search number, so he has to get a 3+ to search an area successfully. And each character will have a special ability. So each turn, the first thing you're going to do on the turn is reveal a crisis card. These crisis cards show the challenge that the colony has this round. So they have 1 round to complete this challenge. So every round you're going to draw a new one. You either fail it or pass it. So in this case you would have a bandit at location 4 and 5. Each location is numbered in the town surrounding your colony. You need these book symbols equal to the number of non-exiled players. So you're going to find item cards at different locations by searching. In this case, the players will put down a number of these to pass it equal to the number of non-exiled players. And they have a condition: if you fail, in this case you place 2 zombies at each location. Okay, so players are going to start in a colony. They can move around to different areas on these squares to try to search for items. And when they search, if they search successfully, they're going to draw a card. They'll put that card in their hand. So in this case, they find 2 food. Every time a player moves or attacks a zombie, you have to roll the exposure die. This die has different symbols on it. This symbol is automatic death. You got a 1 in 12 chance for that. Basically, they get infected, and then there's rules for that, whether they pass it on or just die. Frostbite means that they get a wound token every round till it's healed. And this is your wound. Each player can take 3 wounds before they die. So in Dead of Winter, all your actions are based on the dice that you roll. So at the beginning of the round, you roll 1 6-sided dice for each survivor you have, plus 1. And you're going to keep these in your unused action pool. And when you want to do an action, you're just going to spin that die. So say our character Elijah Jordan wanted to fight. So he needs a 2+, so we can use that 3 to do that. Once you use a die, you just move it into the used dice. You can take as many actions as you have dice, basically. So with this 5, he might search or fight. You can also spend it to get rid of trash or put a barricade up, which blocks zombies. So every round, the players are going to go first and take all of their actions. They'll try to find items to contribute against the main objective, if there is one, or the crisis cards to stop those crises from happening. Then it goes to the colony phase. In the colony phase, you're going to pay food, so you have to have food for every survivor you have. You check waste, so every time you play an item card like food, there's waste that goes with that, and it goes into the waste pile here. If you ever have 10 or more, you lose a morale. If you lose all your morale, which is tracked here, the game ends. Every time a survivor dies, you lose morale. So it's imperative that you keep survivors alive, you keep your waste down, you're able to feed them, and you kill zombies. while getting items for the crisis or the main objective. Then also you'll add zombies to locations. So you're going to add a zombie for every 2 survivors at the colony and for every 1 survivor at a location. So here we have Elijah at the school. So when it comes time to add zombies, you're going to add 1 zombie because Elijah's there. And you're going to add them into these spaces. If there's ever more zombies in our spaces, they'll overrun that area. They'll kill the survivor with the lowest influence first. One of the coolest things about the game is every round that you go, so if it's your turn, the other player will draw a Crossroads card. And these all are conditional. They'll have a chance to go off on your turn if the conditions are met. So you can see at the top it says if the player moves a non-exiled survivor, then this Crossroads card will go off. A lot of them have different choices you can make. They're story-based, but they also affect the game. So in the game, you're also out for yourselves as well as the colony. So each player is going to draw a secret objective card. In this case, we have Purist. You win the game if all the following is true. The main objective has been completed. None of the survivors you control have any item cards equipped to them, and you have no cards in your hand. There's also a chance that in every game there's a Betrayer. This is just on how you shuffle the cards up. If you're the Betrayer, in this case you have the Ritual. You win if the morale is at 0, you control at least 4 survivors, and you have at least 1 of that kind of card equipped to each survivor you control. The Betrayer can affect the game negatively because they can cheat, essentially. When you go to contribute to the crisis, those cards go face down on the board. So, say you need gasoline, the survivor could pretend that he's putting in cards towards that objective. They could actually put in something that doesn't help them with that crisis and causes them to fail it, essentially. Then you're going to shuffle those up, so you might not know who the traitor is. In Dead of Winter, you can also vote. A player can call a vote to exile another player if they're very suspicious that they're a traitor. When a player is exiled, he gets a exiled objective card. These are special cards. In the Long Night expansion, they could join bandits and lead the bandits, and they'll gain their own objective where they can still win the game. The problem is if you kick out 2 people that aren't the traitor, then the morale goes to 0 and you lose the game. In the Long Night expansion, you can also add improvements to your colony. You can spend cards you've got, resources, to put advancement tokens on these. So you might want bedding for your colony. You need 4 advancement tokens, but at the beginning of each round, all non-exiled players may roll an extra action die or remove 1 despair token from a survivor they control. Okay, so that's Dead of Winter, The Long Night, very, very briefly. There's plenty of other rules, but it gives you a general idea of what we're playing. Alright, so with that, let's go right to the video.